YouTube, what's going on, boys? Today we're finna tap into the luckiest people who survived the impossible. I'm not finna lie, I've survived a lot of great things, a lot of big things. I think the craziest thing I survived was the hot chip challenge. But at the same time, everybody has survived their different struggles and been through their different things. And I'm really just yapping. Let's get to the video.
Stephen, an experienced truck driver from New Zealand, was working on his truck. He was positioned between the truck's bumper and the trailer when something crazy happened. He slipped and fell, but something felt off. He didn't feel just regular pain. He felt his body inflating like a balloon, nearly doubling in size. His colleagues and his son rushed to help him, quickly realizing what had actually happened. Stephen had fallen onto the brass valve that supplies compressed air to the truck's brakes.
Whoa. Why is it back there? Why is it back there? Why is the pump back there? No, don't
the valve
tell
punctured
me.
his bum, forcing pressurized air in.
No, that's bad, bruh. That's bad. Nah, imagine all of that air just going up your butt like that and just nah, bro. Yo.
Into his body. They immediately shut off the air supply, laid him on the ground, and called an ambulance.
How do you even fix that, bro?
Unfortunately, both emergency vehicles in the area were occupied, forcing him to wait.
Oh, you see? Nah, that's bad luck. That's bad luck. That's just bad luck. What are we talking
In
about?
that state for an entire hour. When he finally arrived at the hospital, doctors understood the severity of his condition. The air had separated fat tissue from muscle, filling his abdomen, chest, and even the spaces around his lungs, heart, and behind his eyes. To help him breathe, doctors inserted a tube through his ribs and into his lungs. As for the trapped air,
they had to cut it through his ribs?
To help him breathe, doctors inserted a tube through his ribs.
Brother, this had to be the worst day of his life, bro.
And into his lungs.
That has to be
As
painful.
for the trapped air, it had to be expelled naturally through farts, a process that took 3 days. Stephen made a full
straight
recovery,
days of
and doctors
farting?
later determined that if the valve had punctured another part of his body, it could have damaged a blood vessel, and he would have died.
Hey, that's
Joan
guy right
Murray.
there. I ain't gonna lie. Even though it was bad, he still got, he was still blessed. I ain't gonna lie. At least he still had his life. His only sacrifice was 3 days of farting and 1 day of pain.
He was an experienced skydiver, having already completed 35 jumps. It was supposed to be just another routine dive, and as she plummeted at 120 miles per hour, she attempted to deploy her parachute. I say attempted because it didn't open. After multiple tries, she reached for her...
That's my worst fear. I'm not finna lie, that's my worst fear. I have the courage and the balls and the kahunas to jump out of a plane 10,000 miles up in the air, and when I try to go for that parachute, it don't work. I'll just start praying, bro. I don't know what to do.
Reserve parachute, which, to her relief, deployed successfully. However, another problem quickly arose. She began spinning uncontrollably, causing the parachute's cords to tangle into a knot, rendering it useless. She crashed into the ground at 80 miles per hour.
GG's. Yo, how did she survive this, bro? You telling me you crashed into the ground 80 miles per hour? Every single bone in your body has to be broken. What are we talking about?
And upon impact, she heard a loud crack before losing consciousness. Joan fell into a coma and was rushed to the hospital, where doctors performed multiple complex reconstructive surgeries and blood transfusions. The entire right side of her body was crushed.
Jeez.
Yet, incredibly, 2 weeks later, she woke up from the coma and made a full recovery. The reason she survived was just crazy. By pure chance, she landed directly on a fire ant nest, disturbing the venomous ants. In response, they came out of their nests and swarmed her body, stinging and biting her over 200 times.
Okay, first off, the chance of you landing on an anthill is so crazy, but for it to be fire ants, that's just that's movie type of stuff, bro. What are we talking about?
Fire ant venom, known as solanopsin, stimulates the nervous system. The overwhelming amount of it that was injected into her body kept her heart beating until paramedics arrived.
Oh, so they low-key saved. That's guy right there. I got it, man. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I thought, you feel me, tragedy turned into, you feel me, into hope in life-saving procedures. I'm not gonna lie, that would be the most painful thing ever to go through.
Saving her life. Margaret Guire.
She loved.
Margaret was a young Canadian woman who had just married her husband, Herbert, in 1915.
I didn't hear that.
To celebrate, they decided to take a trip and boarded the RMS Lusitania in New York City, bound for Liverpool. They were enjoying their trip, having a routine dinner on the ship, when suddenly they heard a loud boom. The ship had been
jeez.
torpedoed by a German submarine. Herbert immediately
What?
escorted his wife Margaret to a lifeboat, where she was joined by 3 other women and a baby. However, as she looked up, she saw the ship's massive smokestacks above them, and she feared they might collapse onto their lifeboat. In a moment of panic, she climbed back up the stairs to the deck, while Herbert, believing she was safe, boarded another lifeboat with other passengers. As the Lusitania rapidly sank, Margaret tried to swim away from the wreckage, but her efforts were in vain. A whirlpool formed as the ship submerged, pulling her and 2 other men into one of the smokestacks.
Into the smokestacks? There's no way she actually survived this, bro. What are we talking about?
Miraculously, a sudden explosion from below blasted her back to the surface, where she was spotted and rescued by a nearby lifeboat.
No, that's some like dumb ways to die type of ish, bro. What are we talking about? You got sucked into the smokestack, and then a bomb went off in the boat, and it just shot you out like a cannon, and you still survived. No sharks bit you. No nothing. Man, I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy.
As she looked around, she saw Herbert in another lifeboat crying, believing she had died. Julie McSorley. Julie McSorley and Liz Cottrell were kayaking in San Luis Obispo, California, drawn by a spectacular event: humpback whales feeding on fish in the bay.
That's spectacular. Humpback whales are rare, but I wouldn't be near them.
There were lots of tourists on their boats and kayaks watching the whole thing. And even though whale watching is a popular activity, it comes with important safety precautions. Experts recommend staying at least 300 feet away from the feeding zone to avoid dangerous encounters. Unfortunately, Julie and Liz misjudged the distance. A tightly packed swarm of fish, known as a bait ball, suddenly moved alarmingly close to them. But they weren't the only ones to notice. Their presence had also
Oh, nah, he just swallowed.
caught the attention of a humpback whale. Before they had time to react, the whale lunged forward to swallow the fish, but in the process, it also scooped up Julie and Liz. Trapped inside its massive mouth, they probably thought that they were about to be swallowed whole.
No, I ain't gonna lie, Jonah. I ain't just like Jonah. I had to say it. I was thinking it. How you get it swallowed by a whale? Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
After all, humpback whales can grow up to 56 feet long, a huge size from a human perspective. However, despite their enormous mouths, humpback whales have relatively small throats, only about the size of a human fist and capable of stretching to just 15 inches in diameter.
So why would they have that big of a mouth? Just for a small... Well, maybe just to filter out things because of how big it is. That actually makes sense. All right.
They also lack teeth, meaning the 2 women weren't crushed. Luckily, a whale's natural instinct is to spit out anything that isn't fish, and that's exactly what happened. Moments later...
No, I know that stank, though. Imagine the smell inside of a whale's mouth. That has to be the most repulsive thing ever.
Julie and Liz were spat out from the whale's mouth and surfaced unharmed. Matthew Lowe. Matthew was heading to his factory for a routine shift, just like any other day. Upon arriving, he immediately got to work.
Them factory, casual... Oh, I already know what it is gonna be, bruh. These factory casualties be crazy.
Walked past an automated conveyor belt, he suddenly felt his overall snag on something. Unfortunately, it was the conveyor itself. Before he could react, he was pulled onto the belt and dragged toward a 5-inch opening. Within seconds, his entire body was forced through the narrow tunnel. He could hear the cracks of his bones as the...
There's no way he survived this, bro.
Machine spat...
I know I've said that 50,000 times, but how?
...him out on the other side. Miraculously, he remained conscious. Matthew's agonizing screams alerted his coworkers, who rushed to the scene.
This is why you have safety features, kill switches, and all of that, bro. Factory jobs be dangerous, bro.
What they saw was horrifying. His back was broken in 2 places, his pelvis, ribs, and hips were nearly completely crushed, and his abdomen was severely torn. He was rushed to the hospital, but doctors had little hope for his survival. They even advised his partner to prepare for the worst. However, against all odds, Matthew survived. After 6 surgeries and a month in the hospital, he slowly began to recover. 18 months later, he made a full recovery.
God did.
Taiba.
God, going back to work after that is crazy work. Oh, no. If that ever happened to me, that payday finna be crazy, and I'm quitting, retiring, and buying a farm in Nashville, Tennessee or something. I don't know. Hey, there is no way, no way I'm going back to work after that. But God did. You feel me?
Taiba, a young Indian girl, went out for a walk when she came across a construction site. Intrigued, she decided to explore the area. The site was filled with debris and half-finished structures, making it extremely risky to navigate, especially without proper equipment or experience. As she walked through the site, she tripped and fell neck first onto a long metal rod protruding.
Jeez.
from a brick. Bystanders witnessed the horrifying scene
That
and
gotta be
immediately called for
painful.
an ambulance. When Taiba arrived at the hospital, doctors were left stunned. Miraculously, the rod had missed all vital nerves and blood vessels in her head.
What I'm finna say, chat. God damn! Alright, let's get back to it.
After a 35-minute surgery, doctors successfully removed the rod. Amazingly,
That's
she was
crazy.
discharged just 3 days later. Had she fallen just a few inches further forward, she would have died. Frane Selak.
Man.
Frane Selak is an elderly music teacher from Croatia, and he's both the luckiest and unluckiest man on earth.
Okay,
His
talk
first
to me.
crazy experience happened in 1962 when he was on a train. A fault in the tracks caused the train to derail and plunge into the freezing river below. Most passengers either died in the crash or drowned in the submerged train, but Frane miraculously survived with only a broken arm and managed to swim to shore. In 1963, just a year after the train incident, he was on a small plane when, mid-flight, both engines failed.
Oh yeah, this is some Final Destination type of stuff, bro. I'm not finna lie. 2 crazy freak accidents, bro.
As the aircraft went into a free fall, a malfunctioning door blew open, yanking Frane out of the plane. Without a parachute, he must have thought he was going
Bro.
to die. The plane crashed into a hill, killing all 19
Jeez.
passengers on board. However, Frane survived by landing on a haystack, escaping with only minor injuries.
He landed on a haystack? Now that's God right there. I'm not gonna lie. Yo, what? That's literally Final Destination type of stuff, bro.
2 years later, in 1965,
You're not meant to die, you're not
he was
meant to die.
traveling on a bus that was crossing a bridge. The icy conditions
Another one?
caused the bus's wheels to lock up, sending the vehicle crashing through the safety barrier and into the valley below. 4 passengers lost their lives, yet Frane survived once again. After
How?
multiple accidents involving public transportation, he
Yo, how do you survive that? Was he in the back of the bus?
decided to rely on his own car, only to find that it wasn't any safer.
Come on, brother. But Frank finna go 4 for 4, though. That's the crazy part about this, bro.
In 1970, while driving, his engine suddenly burst into flames.
Okay, how does that happen? What are we talking about?
Miraculously, he managed to jump out in time and survived, but this wasn't his only brush with fire. 3 years later, in 1973, while driving another car, the fuel pump ruptured, causing
Nigga, he has to be the most unluckiest, but the luckiest at the same time. How is all of this stuff happening to you, bro? I feel like God and the devil was literally just playing around with old bro. Devil was like, yo, I'm finna kill this guy right like this. God was like, nah. Devil was like, yo, I'm finna kill him. God was like, nah. Something like that, bro. It's crazy, bro. The most luckiest but unluckiest I've ever seen.
yet another fire. This time, the flames were blown directly toward him through the air vents. Despite suffering burns, he once again managed to escape. As if that weren't enough, in 1975, he survived being hit by a bus. Then, just a year later, he had another near-death experience when
He survived getting hit by a bus. And what is this? What am I seeing right now, bro? You have all of these experiences. Why are you driving on a cliff?
his car fell off a mountain road, plummeting
How do you fall off a mountain road? Are there not railings?
300 feet after a careless driver forced him off the road. The car exploded upon impact, but Frane managed to survive by jumping out of the vehicle's window mid-fall and landing on a tree. And by the way,
All right, bro. Yo, who is Frank, bro? Who is this? Who is Frank, bro? What contract did he sign, bro? What are we talking about, man? What? Who is Frank, bro? This gotta be fake, bro. Yo, God put his arms around him, bro.
he won the lottery in 2003. If you liked this video,
Are you
subscribe.
serious?
Landing on a tree. And by the way, he won the lottery in 2003.
I've never seen a luckier man ever in my life. That is absolutely crazy. That is absolutely crazy, bro. Yo, Frank, whatever your name is, bro. Yo, hey, man. That's crazy. No, that last one was crazy, bro. Imagine, like, almost dying 8 times, surviving all of the times, and then winning the lottery for your troubles later in your life. That's crazy.